In today's Procreate tutorial, I'm going to show you how to paint this starfish illustration step by step on your iPad. It's really easy and I will show you every single step. Hello and welcome to Color with Kendi. For today's illustration, you'll need a few supplies. I will be using my iPad and Apple Pencil. I'm using the app Procreate. And I am using this traceable, which you can download for free in the description, as well as the pinned comment. And it also comes with a color palette. And I am also using my ink and color brush set, which is available on my website. Link is down below as well. And I'm using the paper texture canvas that comes with that set. But feel free to use any supplies that you have. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is open up the canvas. So I'm using the canvas that comes with the ink and color set. I'm just going to make a duplicate copy of it because I don't want to paint on the original canvas. I want to keep that blank. So I'm going to open this duplicate canvas and then I'm going to import that free traceable. So just save that free traceable to your iPad. You can save it in photos or files. Then go into your Actions menu, tap on Add, and then insert a photo or insert a file. So I'm just going to insert that photo. So there we go. That is now imported. Now I'm going to go to the Layers menu. And what I want to do is move this traceable all the way to the top. The reason for this, it will be easier to see if it's all the way at the top. If I put it down below, it'll be harder to see when we start to do our illustration. So I'm just gonna hold that. Sometimes it's a little tricky. See, yeah, hold it and then drag it and drop it. Sometimes it's a little tricky, so you might need to do that twice, but that's okay. All right, the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out this color palette. The reason is we're going to use the color palette as it is, but we are going to reduce the opacity of everything else. So go to the selection tool, tap on freehand, not automatic, and then lasso around this, and then with 3 fingers, swipe down, and that will open up the copy and paste menu, and then just say cut and paste. So now what's going to happen is our color selection is now on a different layer, and we're going to go to this layer, which has the starfish, and we are going to reduce the opacity. Because we're not using the line art here, we just need to see the shapes as a guideline. So let's tap on N, and then what we're going to do is reduce the opacity, just so that we see it. Around 15–16% is good, just enough to see. And then now what we're going to do is tap on that again, and we are going to start painting. So here's our game plan. We are going to paint the starfish. We're going to do the base colors first, then we're going to add on some fun effects, some details, and then we're going to paint all these water droplets. Okay, so let's go. Let's go to where it says add more layers. This is a layer that is in between the paper overlay and the paper background in this particular paper texture canvas. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to start painting the starfish. I'm going to go to the brush library and go to the ink and color set and select textured watercolor. That's the brush that we're going to use. And I'm going to color these starfish in one layer with different colors. You can definitely do different colors in different layers, but I'm just going to do everything in one layer. I'm going to select this orange color here first. So I'm just going to press and hold with a finger to select the color. Make sure the color is selected there. And then I'm going to test out the brush. I think the brush is a good size. So this is size 20. Now I'm going to color in the starfish without lifting my pencil. And I'm going to do it in a way that looks a little more hand-done. So I am wiggling my pencil a little bit so that the lines look a little bit more hand-done. So I'm going to do the outline first. And then without lifting the pencil, I'm going to start to fill in the shape. The reason for not lifting the pencil is if you do lift your pencil and apply more pigment, you will get an overlap. And we are not going for that look for this starfish. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I paint something and then I lift my pencil and paint again, I see that overlap, much like you would with watercolor layers. So we don't want that. We want everything to be an even layer. So just paint the starfish without lifting the pencil. And now we're going to do that with this starfish right here and this one right here too, just so that we have orange all across the page in different areas. So that's the orange. Now let's select this pink, hot pink, and I'm going to paint. Actually, let me decide which ones. You can decide where you want to put whichever color. It's really up to you. I'm going to paint this one pink and maybe this one pink, and then I'll do the other two as purple. Really your choice. Okay, so we have laid down all of the base colors. Now it's time to add more fun effects on top of this. So go to the layers panel, tap on plus, and create another layer. And what we want to do is everything in this layer, we want it to only show up on what's been painted underneath already. And the way to do that is to make it a clipping mask. Tap on that, and then you get this little sign here. That means it's a clipping mask. So basically you can draw anything you want in this layer and it won't go outside the bounds of the starfish that we have painted. So this is actually very useful. So what I want to do is add a little bit more pigment in certain areas. So for example, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to zoom into this orange starfish right here. And then I'm going to go to this brush here, Candy Smudger. It's meant to be a smudger, but I sometimes like to paint with it too. So I'm just going to tap on that. And it's a great way to add a little bit of watery pigment. So you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to keep that same color that I had, that purple, and then I'm going to add a little pigment wherever I feel like. This is really up to you. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. Add some color wherever you want. Just have some fun with it. You could do crazy colors too. You could get more intense colors too, but I'm just going to keep it a little bit subtle. And I'm just going to tap and add some color, and I'm going to do that here, but I'm not able to see it on this because the color that we have here is very similar to the color here. So what you can do is you can go into the color menu and you can make the color a little bit more intense and it will show up a little bit better. And you can experiment with different colors. So what I'm doing here is just adding some interesting color variation to all of the starfish. And how you do this is totally up to you. I am happy with that. I don't want to add too much. I want to add a little bit of orange. So I'm going to pick this orange and I'm going to add a little bit of orange to some of these as well. So add as much color as you want. Mine is subtle. You can definitely add more. Now in the next step, what we're going to do is go to the layers panel and create another layer. Same thing. We're going to make it a clipping mask. So that whatever we do here only shows up on the starfish underneath. And we're going to go into the ink splatter brush. And we're going to select white. You can select another color if you'd like. And I'm just going to go into the color menu and select pure white. To select pure white, just double tap in the disk mode, double tap, there we go, at the 10 o'clock position, and you will snap to pure white. Now that we've selected the brush, I'm going to zoom in and add a few ink splatters. So this is size 15, which is the preset size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to vary my pressure, apply low pressure and high pressure, and move my pencil. So what will end up happening is by changing the pressure as I apply this brush, I'll have some smaller splatters and bigger ones too. And I'm just moving my pencil. What we can do now is start to add the detail. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop at this point and I'm going to add some details to these starfish. So what I'm going to do is go into the layers menu, tap on plus, and now we're going to paint in a different layer. This is not a clipping mask layer. We are going to do this on a non-clipping mask layer. And what I'm going to do is just draw some details and outlines for each of these starfish. And I'm going to select this textured Inker B brush for that. It's got some nice texture. You can select any brush that you like. And what I want to do is zoom in and select the color here, like the main color of the starfish, then go into the color menu and make a darker version of it and more saturated version just by going down at a diagonal. And then I want to test this out. So this is going to be the color I'm going to do my outline with, just testing it out to see if there's enough contrast. Because for the outline, I do want some contrast. I don't want something that's too close. I like that. I think there's enough contrast. So what I'm going to show you is how to use this brush. So this brush, if you use light pressure, the line looks like that. If you use heavy pressure, it's like that. The beauty really comes out, in my opinion, when you vary the pressure. And it creates this nice texture, and it will be really nice once we finish all the starfish. So what I'm going to do now is just go around each of these starfish and do an outline. With this brush, I am using size 15. You can use it at a different size, whatever suits you. So we're just going to go around it and vary the pressure. Some areas use heavy pressure, and in some areas use light pressure. And we're not going to do this perfectly. And then I'm going to draw a little circle in the center, and then I'm going to draw a line that goes out towards each tip. I like that. So now I'm going to do the same thing for all of the orange ones. So a little circle in the center, and then the outline. Okay, so the orange starfish are done. Now we can use the exact same color for the rest of the starfish, or we can change it up a little bit. I'm going to change it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this color right here, and same thing that we did earlier, go down at a diagonal and test out the color until you get something that you like. Something that has some contrast. So it's really up to you. Now you can stop at this point, or you could add more details if you'd like. So as an example, you could just go in with the same color that you used for the outline and then add in small details. But if you don't want to do that, that's okay too. I think it's really about making this illustration your own. I personally want to add some of those small details, so I'm going to go around and do that. But if you'd like to skip this step and keep things easy, feel free to skip this. Okay, so next step is I'm going to see what it would look like if I change these colors. So I'm going to duplicate this layer right here where I had all of the outlines. I'm going to turn off the layer underneath. And for this layer, I'm going to start to change some colors. So I'm going to go to the adjustments menu and tap on curves. I'm going to go to gamma first, and I'm going to tap right here and just see what it would look like if I changed the colors. So if I went to black, it will look like that. That's a really bold look, and I think for some people's illustration style, that works very well. Not so much for me. I think it's a bit intense. So it really is a personal preference. You can go in and move it around, and I'm going to move it around until I find something that I like. I think what I had earlier might have been a bit too intense for me. You can even change it to almost white just by moving this around. So I'm going to change it to this. It's a little bit lighter than before. Still got some contrast, but a tad lighter. Okay, now the next step, we're going to create another layer, and we're going to color in the water droplets. So we're going to go back to our traceable layer, which was here. Turn it on, and then I'm going to press and hold on this color right here from the color palette, and that's our blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this layer right here, just above the outline layer, and go into the ink and color set and go into textured watercolor pigmented. Just going to go there and start to paint in all of these water droplets. They're not trying to be perfect. So now I don't need that traceable anymore. So I'm going to go to where that traceable was, turn it off. And then I'm going to go back to the layer with the water droplets. And I'm going to add some details to these droplets as well. I'm going to do it on the same layer, not a separate layer. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to grab this color right here. Then go into the colors menu and same thing, go down at a diagonal. So basically you're creating a color that has more contrast. And then I'm going to use that same brush that we used earlier, the textured Inker B, and I'm just going to create an outline. Not a perfect outline, I'm going to leave a few gaps. So now you can stop at this point, or if you're like me and you like things a little bit shiny and you want to add a highlight, you can do that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add a highlight to all of these water droplets or bubbles, whatever you want them to be. So what I'm going to do is go into the color menu and same thing we did last time, a double tap at the 10 o'clock position. It will snap to pure white. And with the same brush, I'm going to go in. I'm just going to gently create a very rough highlight. You can create a highlight that looks like this. That's cute. I don't think it really goes with the rest of the vibe, so I'm going to create a highlight that's a little bit more rough looking, kind of like that. Maybe a little bit more like that. Okay, all of them have a highlight. And then let's just turn off this color palette layer right here. We don't need that anymore. And that's it. We're done. At this point, if you would like to add some shadows to all of your starfish, you may certainly do that. Let me show you how to do that. So you can go into the layers panel, tap on plus, and what you can do is, because our highlights are all here, that means the light is coming in from this direction. So we can create shadows right over here on these starfish. So what you can do is go in with a light gray and then go to the textured watercolor. And you can just very gently apply some pigment right there. And create shadows for your starfish. Okay, so those were some gentle shadows. You can definitely make more intense shadows, but for me, this is good enough. And this is now what our final illustration looks like. We have some interesting texture, and we can always add more pigment here and there if we want to. But for me, I think this is good. So play around and feel free to change the colors. Now that we have finished this illustration, you'll see that you can definitely go in to these layers right here and change the colors. So for example, if I wanted to change the base color of the starfish, I could just go in and go into hue, saturation, brightness, tap on that, and then I can change the I can make it more desaturated. I can make it really intensely saturated. I can reduce the brightness, increase the brightness. So you can go into each layer and play around. I'm not going to do that for this video, but I just wanted to mention that once you have completed this illustration, because we have worked in several layers, you do have that option of making adjustments. So feel free to make adjustments if you'd like to, but I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments below. Bye!